We've been master compromisers. We were supposed to be master students, becoming master teachers, master expressions of love, absolute fullness inside of us, all truth, all goodness contained within us. And it's our job to stir and unlock it. Is that what you've been doing? Have you been in a field of discovery of self? Or have you been more preoccupied with controlling the narrative of who people think you are? Have you been out trying to discover, looking, searching, seeking to find, not in them, but in yourself? The field of discovery is within. Everything that your physical world contains on the outside spills out of the inside of you. So if you want the answer to a dilemma in your physical experience, you don't analyze, observe, diagnose, and make changes to your physical external presentation. No. You have to go to the root of the issue. You have to go within yourself. You have to be honest as you observe your habitual patterns and allow for the inner teacher to show you where these habitual inner patterns lead and the path back to the Father's house. See, one of our biggest issues is we have become masters in things that we can never know. We have become masters of what we feel, masters of what we think. We have dedicated our lives to thoughts, and thoughts are so similar to a cloud. Clouds are there, and then they're not. They pass by. Some look to be forming certain shapes that resemble certain things that you can identify, but you've never looked up there in the clouds and honestly thought that the cloud that looked like a horse was a horse. But you will look in your thoughts and think that the thought that looks like your happiness is happiness, and then you'll chase it down to acquire all of the elements of the thought that you can combine, and then you're disappointed when it does not equate to the good time that you thought it would be. And that's what makes changing difficult for some. You think as you think about change, you think as you entertain the illusionary pictures, the vain passing pictures of you changing and what you changing would mean for you and those around you and the world. And it's just all of these imaginations that you entertain about you making a change or a shift that you have seen to be detrimental or vital or crucial to your development. It's so much easier to think about making the change. It's so much easier to chart making the change. It's so much easier to pinpoint the reasons to making the change, because all of that takes is a negative tune on the inside of you where you are constantly drawn to giving your attention to the things that are not right. And things that are not right are things that are unfamiliar to you, things that aren't going in the way that they have gone in the past. But you also say that you desperately want something new. You desperately want change. So how is it that you can initiate, apply, engage in anything changing when you're constantly on the hunt for what is familiar, constantly on the hunt for what feels to be comfortable, what you think will be suitable? You've been running behind your thoughts, running behind your misconceptions, running behind your superstitions, running behind your deceptions, running behind your own manipulations. You've been doing it to yourself, and then you have the nerve to insult what life is based on the mismanagement of your experience in the physical. You want to call life all out its name. because you didn't know that left up to your own devices, left up to your own feelings, your own thoughts, your own misconceptions, your own superstitions, you can do nothing but run in circles because you're looking for what's familiar. So where you started has to be where you're in because you made sure of it. Every time you saw something new, you turned around. Every time you saw something different, you rejected it. Every time you saw something that didn't fit the mold of what you thought it should be, you got busy running your mouth and manipulating and playing all kind of games to get whatever it was or whoever it was inside of your realm of pseudo control. You've taken advantage of people actually liking you. You've taken advantage of people wanting to be a part of your life. You've used their desire to be a part of your life to get them to do things for you, towards you, and on your behalf that they never wanted to do. They didn't even think that it was best for you, but they did it because you have set your life up under the social auspice that if one does not live under the control or the rule or reign or operate in fear of losing you, then they don't deserve to be in front of you. And that's the most insecure thing I've heard all day. But that's not what we call it. We don't call it insecurity. We call it being selective with who I give myself to. We call it having standards. We call it knowing what I'm meant for and what I won't settle for. It's a bargain. It's a bad contract. It's a business deal with no real tangible benefit to the other party. You and your entitlement, you and your self-centeredness, you and your instability based upon the desires that you develop from your emotions and your thoughts. You can't even muster up consistency. Can't even be the same person day to day because you're constantly changing your presentation based on the thoughts and the emotions that you entertain. You live like a dog on a chain. And the one holding the chain would be your thoughts and your feelings. Your thoughts oftentimes trail your feelings. Your feelings grab so much of your attention that you can give no attention to anything else. We are not honest about the level of attention that we are able to extend to anything. Even inside of this video has been going for about 9 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever. I split it up sometimes and make it 5 so that I can tailor with the audio and do things like that. Even inside of these small presentations, one thought could stimulate you into a million other thoughts that cause you to miss the rest of the video. But you'll still say you watched it. You'll still say it was helpful. And I'm not opposing such. Words don't teach, so it's not about you staying here. You staying to the end helps nothing but my retention rate. Because words do not teach. Words have never changed anything. We have been under the impression that we can have an emotional reaction to something that we are experiencing, go inside of our thoughts, develop a plan for a better to come, diagnose the issues of the present, compare them to the experiences of the past, and still remain uninfluenced and free to make a choice based upon truth, fact, reality, and what it is that is beneficial and edifying for ourselves. So it's pretty clear that we've been living by our imaginations. It's pretty clear that we've been compromising based on our feelings and our thoughts, our past experiences, our superstitions, our fears. And our fears are just pictures that we've tolerated and entertained on the inside of us based on our past experiences. So what is the solution? Because you cannot be telling me that the solution to the problem that we've been having based on living from our imaginations, jumping from one imagination in discontentment to the next imagination, growing just as discontent with the new imagination as the one before, the answer to that can't be to form a new imagination and to relocate, whether geographically or figuratively. That can't be the solution. That's what we've been trying to do our entire life. It's crazy that the path to knowledge, the path to wisdom, the path to enlightenment begins with acknowledging that I do not know. Understand, I cannot be taught if I'm already operating under the premise that I am aware of the truth already that you are trying to convince me of. If I am convinced that I know something already and you are presenting to me information on the topic of what I am convinced I know the fullness of, as you make your presentation, I'm doing nothing but comparing what you know to what I know, and I'm looking for flaws. I'm looking for discrepancies. I'm looking for anything that's off in what is familiar to me. Understand, like as a student, it is my job to listen to opposing views and opposing perspectives, and it is also my job to not hold a personal view or personal perspective of what the truth is myself. I am here to discover truth. I am not here to determine what truth is. I am not here with, what do you call it? I have no horse in this race. I have no, it doesn't matter to me which one is the truth and which one is a lie. I will partner with what is true, because what is true benefits me, and what is a lie I suffer from partnering with, because I end up inside of the illusionary presentation that comes with the partnership of the illusion. With one compromise comes all compromise. You can't decide that you're going to sell your time for money and not take yourself out of the presence of the people that you said that you were going to sell your time for money to provide for. You don't get to have your cake and eat it too. You don't get to have the best of both worlds, because these two worlds don't mingle. They are oil and water. They don't, you can't settle. If you're settling for one or the other. And if it's truth, if the presentation is freedom, if it's liberty, then it will exceed anything that you believed it to be. You don't trust nothing that nobody else said, because you know the stuff that come out of your mouth sometimes is meaningless. You know that it's empty, null, void, absolutely full of nothing. You know that you can open your mouth and say anything. You can be just as deceptive, just as manipulative as somebody off of Netflix or a Lifetime movie. So you don't take anything that anybody says at face value, not because you've been hurt so bad in the past, but because you've been so dishonest to the point that you know it's easy to tell a lie. But you will tell yourself that there's something, a lie somebody told you 17 years ago that you just held on to, and you believed it's so true and based your life and your identity on it so much that when you found it to be in error, you found it to be a complete concoction of their imagination or a complete fabrication, you just lost all ability, all stability, all knowledge of self, no longer knew who you were, no longer knew what you needed to do, what you wanted to do, or where you should go. Nah. You misidentified yourself and attached yourself to someone else, and you told yourself a bunch of lies about who you would be or couldn't be in their absence. And that's what drove you up a wall and drove you to reaching out to other people for validation and trying to steal virtue and trying to steal the knowledge of self from somebody who probably hadn't even come into the knowledge of self for themselves yet. That make any sense to you? You want people to validate you that do not accept and approve of themselves. You want people who are constantly making a project out of the way they talk, the way they operate, the way they think, the way they look, to look over at you and see something so miraculous that the only thing they can do is shower with compliments and boost your confidence even higher than you pretend it already is. For one, most of us don't walk around like we need a confidence boost because we were taught to pretend so early on. And pretending being the first nature of ignorance that we learn, we do it so well, we do it so subconsciously, that when somebody tries to point out the fact that we're using our ability to mislead softly through soft communication skills and things like that, we don't even stand accountable for that. We try to dodge that, and we lean on the technicality of, well, no, when I'm mad, this is what I do. And we go into the self-definition of what it looks like when we're angry, and what we would have said and what we would have done if we had have truly been feeling what you said was true about me. And none of that stuff be true. It'd be all baloney. It'd be all defense mechanisms. It'd be all absolute garbage that the ego and the illusionary self has drafted in a moment to keep somebody away from pointing out the flawed presentation. You don't want nobody close to the truth of you. You pretend like you don't know the truth of you. Somebody asks you right now, do you think you're a good person? Well, I don't know. Sometimes I do bad things, but I do bad things for good reasons, though. Like, when I do bad things, it's not because I'm a bad person. I do bad things. Like, I had to sell drugs to feed my kids. I had to go and rob houses to make sure that my mama was straight. Like, I had, when you look at my situation, it's a little different. I might have did some of the bad things. I might have did some of the things that people consider a bad person for. But look at why I did it. I did it to provide. I did it to rise out of poverty myself. I did it. Why is it that you always get to self-define what you do, and you get to self-define what other people are doing? You get to be judge, jury, prosecutor, everything for you and them. And that's crazy. How do you as a student believe that your analytics are anything near accurate? How do you believe that the things that you have concluded are anything near factual when you go about it in such a frivolous and such a inaccurate way? It's all emotions. Your emotions change every day. So you can't even be a person of consistency because you're constantly spinning into the presentation of the emotion of the time. It's not even the emotion of the day, the emotion of the moment, the emotion of the experience. And you have countless experiences and moments you have moments inside of moments. You can be in a moment and see something, and inside of your head reflect to a previous moment inside of that moment, completely absent to the present moment, going back to the past within yourself, this image that you've contained, and now you're in a moment. You have countless experiences in a day. Just because you go and you sit on your hands, you can sit. Hey, we just be pretending. We be acting like because we didn't open our mouth and say it, the person didn't feel our negative energy. So it's crucial, man. It's crucial that we develop the ability to shift our mentality. It's crucial that we come out of giving our attention to the unwanted, giving our attention to the losses, and we go back to what we experienced as children, where our attention is solely on what we want. It's crazy because when a child is given his or her attention solely to what they want, they are looked at as normal. But as an adult, you have been programmed, you have been socially wired to, if you give your attention to only what you want, you're selfish, which is a negative connotation placed on you, because it's hard to make you conform to a program, to a system, to a way of thinking if you are already standing firm on what you have decided within yourself for yourself. But if I can get you split just one time, if I can tell you that as a father or as a mother, you're supposed to sacrifice yourself for the wellness or the enjoyment or the happiness or the progress or development of your child. That one split, that one compromise of your identity will lead to a host of compromises coming in. And it won't just be 18 years of compromise. If you let it run on autopilot, it'll go to the day you or your child leaves this earth. One compromise leads to a host of compromises. You think you can pick and choose your displeasures and the things that you want, the things that you'll be content with. Well, okay, I can settle for that, but I don't want that. Ain't no way in the world you'll catch me over there. I'll operate from a place of fear. But I do like to practice being a good steward of my words and being a good steward over truth and what it is that I'm presenting, especially about myself, because people are already so traumatized by the average person's inability to speak truthfully and honestly and transparently on the matter of themselves, that when you have somebody in front of you who's willing to do so and able to do so, typically you are so in the habit, so in the swing of dealing with somebody who you have to figure out, that you become distrustful of the things that comes out of people's mouth, and you now become offensive to the person who moves in transparency, because why are you trying to figure out better than I've told you when I told you exactly what it was that you say you're trying to figure out? We've been so dishonest. We've been so distrustful that when it's time to extend ourselves in love, extend ourselves in honesty, extend ourselves in vulnerability, we have a greater idea, concept, imagination of harm, of danger. Fear directs our path. And when fear directs your path, it directs you to loss, the illusion of loss. And the illusion of fear leading to the illusion of loss doubles back to more loss and more fear. And that process keeps going until there's a shift in your attention and a redirection of your creative power, and you begin to call to yourself something greater than what you have been calling to yourself, which is more fear and more loss, based not on what you're saying, not on what you're watching, not on none of that, based on what you give your attention to, based on your communication. You can listen to the way we talk, and you can listen to something that is a common theme in the adult human, and you can tell that the adult human is not under the impression that the only thing entering their life is what they want and what they call to themselves, because the adult human is constantly in conversation about what they do not want for themselves and they do not want for those within their kingdom. Now, I'm just tired of living like this. I don't want to live like this no more. I don't want to talk like, I don't want to act like, I don't want to work here no more. I don't want to have my finance. And always talking about what they don't want. Well, if you genuinely knew what you say you know, that you have the ability by the power within you that you did not pay for, you did not earn, but that was freely given to you by the one who created you, to call to yourself what it is that you desired, what you want, to call to yourself what it is that you see yourself with, then why is it that your life is void of what you say it is that you want, and your life is full of what it is that you talk about, not wanting to ever go through, see, or experience? It's time to make the adjustment. It's not what's coming out of your mouth. It's not even what you think you're thinking. It is what the truth is about the marriage of how you feel and what it is that you expect. Understand, my dog got hit this week, and the lesson that I learned after spending 2 weeks trying to keep that dog contained in about a 20 by 20 space so that it did not get hit, to leave and get the phone call after finally giving in and allowing the dog to hang out on the back patio that was fenced in, where someone put a bungee on the gate to keep her from following anybody out, because she had the discipline to operate in accordance with my ways around me. But when I would leave, she would do other things. a lot like it's childish, it's animalistic, it's also a presentation that we can relate to if we're honest. There are or have been certain people that have had the power to, when around you, direct what it is you say, what it is you do, but you have not given those people the view to see everything you think. So that's where the pretending comes into play, because they also will speak on how they want you to think, and they will tell you how they enjoy for you to think and how they enjoy for you to feel. And you are left with two options. I can either, one, not submit to the condition of this conditional experience of love. I cannot submit. I can say no. I can say I'm not paying for your conditional affection. I'm not paying for you to make me your servant. I'm not doing that. You want me to pay you for you to make me your slave, the slave to your happiness, the slave to your peace, the slave to your feelings. Anytime my feelings are in disarray, I need the ability to come to you and speak to you, dump on you, to give to you my problems, and for you to give to me your attention, and for you to give to me your solutions. And it's a ridiculous idea to think that you can be in a mutual partnership, a mutual, consensual, beneficial relationship, and you bring to the table problems, your partner brings to the table solutions, and you leave satisfied. What is it that this other party gets for bringing you solutions? Could it be that you're so wrapped up in your own experience, in what you are under the impression that you need to survive and to sustain yourself, that you don't even care if this other person finds fulfillment? Or do you think that to be connected to you is such a gift that they should be flattered to be there, and that is the gift of love of you, is you giving access to you? It must be out your mind. All of us come from the same creator. All of us have the same origin. All of us were established at the same time. No one came before. There is no one who came later, so to the point that they are superior or inferior. We are one. There is one God. There is one body. There is one baptism. The baptism covers the body and brings the whole body into the experience of the one God. This is not about what you think to be true. This is not about what you feel to be true. This is the truth of the matter of truth. Nobody cares how you feel. The truth doesn't care how you feel. If you would like to know, then you can climb to the top of a building and you can walk off of it and say that you don't believe in the law of gravity. See if your belief in the law, or your lack of belief in the law, stops you from your untimely and foolish death. Transition. We'll be more honest with our choice of words. But you transition then. Anyway, man, as students, we got to be honest. We got to be truthful. We got to be factual. We got to be transparent. We have to be willing to admit that we do not know, we have not known, and we are willing to find out. And finding out is not us going seeking, searching, striving, diving like we normally do. It is us sitting ourselves still. It is us getting quiet. It is us becoming inquisitive. It is us entering the field of discovery with an open mind and an open heart. It is us being willing to be taught, being willing to be shown, being patient to wait, but knowing that in an instant, everything can change. Like air.